Hey, RBC and the team at Future Launch who are granting the scholarships, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my story and my ask. I am asking for the scholarship so that I can invest in vocal and guitar lessons. I'm going to tell you the backstory of why this is important to me and the impact it's going to create, not only for my life, but for tens of thousands of students across Canada, and potentially many, many, many more. I'm going to be using the guitar and the vocal lessons to sing a song at schools when I do keynotes about mental health that'll connect to a story that I tell about my dad. So I'm about to switch it so you could listen to what the background and context is, but that's the ask. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I look forward to hearing back from the team on getting started with these lessons because I really need them. I was diagnosed with clinical depression and anxiety in 2011, and this was 6 months into a downward spiral after just a terrible transition into high school. And I was the last person that you would expect to be diagnosed with this. In grade 8, I was enthusiastic, I was athletic, I had a great social life. The last person that you would look at and expect this to happen to, but you never know what current is gonna sweep under your feet and take you out in life. And right before my transition into high school, we had a close family friend in my life who took their own life. And that trauma, when it seemed like everybody else in my life was, grieving and moving on, I was grieving and holding on to it, and I didn't know how to process it. I didn't know how to express it. And I move into grade 9, where I'm in this transition, and just like every student has to experience, they've got all sorts of new decisions they need to make. And looking back, I realized that I made all the wrong decisions. I decided to hang out with the wrong guys. I decided I wasn't going to go to class. I decided that I was going to do drugs. And this slowly snowballed for 6 months till I was spending more time sleeping than I was going to class. And my dad would be trying to wake me up to go to school every single day, and I would not go. Finally, they said, enough's enough. They took me to the doctor, and the same day I was diagnosed with clinical depression and anxiety. And that kicked off 2 years of trying to go from that place where it just felt like every single day there was this heavy, dark, relentless cloud of negativity, and it wouldn't leave. It was blocking the sun. I didn't experience sun anymore. And it took 2 years until I finally was in a place where I started to gain my confidence back, to gain my enthusiasm again, to feel like I had a sense of direction in life, to not feel hopeless all the time. And the reason I tell you this story is because it ties really, really well into the skill that I want to learn. As I mentioned, I want to take vocal and guitar lessons from a professional. Because ever since I had that experience in high school and that I learned the statistics around what's happening in the mental health landscape in Canada, I learned that 1 in 5 people will struggle with their mental health. I learned that only 1 in 4 of those people will actually get the help that they need. And what's that happening then is suicide becomes the #1 health-related cause of death for our young people. And I could have easily been one of those stats. And it's not lost on me that that could have happened. And the only reason why it didn't happen is because I had people in my life that gave a damn and that were there for me and that had my back. And so the reason I want to learn guitar is because I've been speaking at high schools and universities for the last 4 years. I've been sharing about mental health education. I've been answering the question, who can I trust to have this conversation with? And at the end of the day, I've been talking about care, which is self-care and caring for others. And inside of that element of caring for others, I tell a story about my dad. I'll tell the story that I'm going to tell you right now. The story I tell about my dad is when I was really struggling. I'd already been diagnosed. I wasn't going to school. Every single day, he sat on my bed and he said, "Jonathan, it's time for school." And every single day I didn't get up. I dreaded that conversation. And I won most of the time. But he would try to do all these creative things to get me to get out of bed. He would, take the covers off the bed, and then I would just like get into a ball, and he would pick me up literally, and he would put me in the shower, and he would turn the shower on cold water so that I would wake up. And I remember one specific day that changed my whole life, and it was the day that I decided that I could make a difference here, because it was the day where I finally saw direction, the day I finally saw light. He came in my room like he always did. He sat on the end of my bed, and he said, "Jonathan, it's time for school." And I didn't get up, and so he left. And I thought, I won this one. 2 minutes later, he busts the door down. He has a giant bucket in his hand, and I didn't have time to react, because what he did is he shot the entire bucket and he launched it right on my face. My whole bed was drenched. My whole body was drenched. And it was literally like this wake-up call. And he sat down beside me and he looked at me straight in the eyes and he said, "Jonathan, you can't do any wrong. There's nothing you can do that's going to stop me from being here for you." He said, "I will sit here as long as it takes for you to feel ready." He said, "I love you unconditionally." And I've been telling that story in schools because what our youth need and what our parents and our communities and adults in our life have the opportunity to do for youth is to show them that they care, to be there for them, to not make wrong and not judge, but instead to sit and be patient, and to know that if you care long enough, they'll turn the corner. And I tell that story, and I have this vision where I'm going to be able to change so many students' lives. I've literally spoken to tens of thousands of students, and I've spoken at hundreds of schools over the last 4 years, and there's one thing missing. The only thing missing is creating an unforgettable experience. And the way I'm going to be able to do that is with my guitar and my voice. My voice has always been my greatest asset, but I've never been musically inclined until last year. I picked up the guitar and I started playing guitar, and I took lessons from a friend, but I didn't pay for them, so I have a lot of room to grow. And I want to sing a song called "Hey Maria" to talk about the way that my dad made me feel when he was there for me. And I know when I add that final element into the speech and I infuse the emotion into those students, I know they will never forget the experience. And so I'm asking for the opportunity for the scholarship, because I'm going to invest the money on vocal lessons and guitar lessons so that I can learn this song and I can incorporate the guitar and this experience that they will never forget. Because I'm going to continue speaking at these schools. I'm going to continue to make a difference in the mental health community, and having RBC's support, having RBC's backing would mean the world to me. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, that we're going to be able to make a significant impact together. This will be the most epic keynote that these students have ever seen. It's going to be a talk they'll never forget for their entire lives, and it's going to be a talk they're going to walk into their lives not only seeking a trusted mentor and trusted adult, but they're going to be the ones that are going to create that feeling in other people. I know that guitar wasn't that impressive, but there's so much potential here, and I hope you see the possibility inside of this conversation. And I really appreciate you taking the time to listen and to consider and ultimately to grant me the scholarship, because it's going to make a big impact. And I think partnering with RBC on this is something that I'll be very proud of, and I think you'll be able to be very proud of as well. Thanks so much.